Running Sentences presents A Spy's Dagger, Part 6. Confrontations. Tiredly, Dante finds himself in another pickle of a situation, one which he might be able to talk his way out of, potentially. This story is written and narrated by Michael Honore. It is a work of fiction, so any names, characters, businesses, events, and situations within the story are products of the author's imagination. Any resemblance to real people, situations, characters, businesses, events, and/or fictional businesses, characters, events, and so on is purely coincidental. Copyright 2025, Michael Honore, all rights reserved. Dante sat at the table, this last spoonful of food halfway to his mouth, as the door had burst open. In had walked three men, one distinguished-looking one, the other two guard types with armor and so on. None of them looked much like a sheriff, which was a minor good sign, but one also never knew until a conversation began, and this one was obviously going to be targeted towards him. He only thought that last bit, because the three had swung their attention around the room, landed on him, and then headed his way. With a sigh, he finished his last bite to have something in his stomach, and put it down, taking up a napkin and wiping his face off, as the man came to a stop in front of him. "Can I be a help to you, gentlemen?" "I am the Count of Millbrook, which oversees this area and its surroundings. You are a royal worker. Why haven't you come to see me?" Narrowing his eyes at the figure, Dante tried his best to figure out what he actually wanted. He certainly shouldn't know about him, a lowly spy, but apparently he knew something. There's a lot of concerning things going on, and it was making more and more likely that he would need to just flee soon when nobody was looking. "Well, I work for royalty. I do not see a reason to visit you unless you are a Marcus." "That I am." "Oh, good. A princess on a nearby island, a day's trip away, insists that you go see her." "Why, who?" the man demanded to know from Dante. "Well, she did not inform me of the issue or why she wanted to see you, merely that you needed to go see her, and that I should collect you once I've completed my job." This Marcus then took a few steps back to get away, but didn't get too far, bumping slightly into his guards, though they would take 2 steps forward to cover him. He hid a little behind them as they put their hands on their swords. I don't see a need to do such thing or do that," Marcus replied. "Are you refusing to a request from Princess Abella? Is that really what you're doing, Mr. Marcus?" "Count Marcus? No, I would never do that. It's just that I may not have the time to do so. This area has a lot of crime that I have to deal with, and I can't be wandering around tending to princesses who I haven't seen in years, I think." With a frown, Dante studied how far back the man had stepped, and that his guards were still in front of him, their swords not quite out yet, but still slightly out. "You came to yell at me for not visiting you, but when invited by royals to see them, you're running away? Interesting." It's no big deal," Marcus muttered. "Well, I think it is, judging from your expression. See, most of the people who know who I am and why I was on the island or in the capital generally don't mess with me or say things like that. So there's a great big question, and they don't talk, by the way, as why do you know I am here?" The sheriff from the port town nearby sent a warning my way that there was a weird traveler headed to Old Briarwood." "Ah, yes, that would be my fault for causing that issue. Oh well, so listen to me carefully then. I'm going to that little town and then coming back. At the request of the princess, you're going to be coming with me back to that island, although I may not go to the island myself. Just prepare yourself and make it easy on me," Dante explained. "Or what, mister?" "Or we'll wind up on the boat to the island and not even know it," Dante replied, leveling a glare at the man. You think you can make it past my guards? But they will hand you to me when the time comes. Doing so is much easier than dealing with me. Plus, the pressure of the crown is enough for most people to simply do as I ask, as I do have the backing of the crown. The man eyed him from his spot behind the guards, not moving any further away, but still seemingly ready to move. You're lying to me? Perhaps I am, Marcus, but that's a chance you'll have to take. Now, if you don't mind, I would like to get some sleep and get out of here in the morning, and also don't try anything. I'm a rather light sleeper and vicious when I don't get my sleep. But that's your call if you want to disturb that, though. Dante watched as Marcus waved his guards as they retreated towards the bar of this inn. They were having a rather hushed conversation, and it gave him a chance to just sit in peace for the moment. It was quick, though, because if he wasted any time here, there would be a chance he would be interrupted again. With his meal completed, he decided now was enough time, and just rose and began walking towards the three men, all of them stiffening at the sight. Mr. Marcus, you have better things to do than run away from the princess. Just my piece of advice, since she will find you, and then you will be at her mercy. She may be kind, but she has a mean streak to her, so just go and see her, even before I come back. With a nod to them, he turns and heads down the hallway to get to his room. He'd gotten up early the next morning after a decent rest, at least better than he'd had the last few days, and headed out. There was no time to waste, and the sooner he got things over with, the better. The town shouldn't be too far away, according to the directions he'd been given, which was good, since he'd picked up a follower. One of the guards from Marcus was riding not too far back from him, so he dropped back to the man, as they continued their trek along the coastal road. I take it you're one of the spirits of iron who can't be bought or made to think about the repercussions of the situation at hand.
No idea what you're talking about, sir.
Yes, you would say that. Boring as it is, it's your job to deny my request for information, so I'll make this easy for you. I'm going to this town up ahead, on this road, to listen to some people talk. Then I'm riding back, that's it. No need for anybody to watch me.
Sir, that's what every fugitive would say, his follower replied.
Am I a fugitive?
You are considered one by Sir Marcus, Count of the local area, so yes.
Yeah, shouldn't you be stopping me then?
I have orders to observe and see what you're doing. If you act out, then I can do something.
Dante shook his head sadly and urged his horse forward again. The distance between them grew a bit after some point, and after some point it just evened out. With only the sounds of the ocean to keep him company, Dante rode at a brisk pace, hurrying things along, but still making sure to take some time. In the distance, along another curve of this road that cleared out and showed the rocky shore and ocean, there appeared to be a small town that was sort of just appeared in the area. It was a hazy-looking thing that wasn't quite in focus yet. To his surprise, though, there was also some intersecting roads here, which now made this road busier, though no more well taken care of. His little follower was still behind him, though, as he dropped further back now that there's more people on the road. Not really that many, but there was an odd carriage hurrying to and from the connecting roads. One of the vehicles bustled past, with the driver yelling towards him. "Get off the road if you're going to be slow." "No, I won't, driver." His reply was lost, though, in the dirt and dust, as the carriage kicked up in its hurry past him. It took a lot longer than he was expecting to get to the town limit. A welcome sign hung a few miles away, giving the impression that those were the limits of the boonies, but the ocean, beach, and wild woods kept going for quite a while before getting anywhere. At the wall of the city, he was greeted by a few guards standing outside a wooden fence that surrounded the majority of the town. "Halt! Who goes there? What business do you have in town?" "I'm visiting and seeing what it has to offer. Why?" Dante started to reply. We don't let strangers into the town.
That's odd. I was told you let all sorts of people come to visit, ones who are not welcomed anywhere else.
I've no idea who told you that, sir, but they were lying to you. This is a closed city,
the guard announced. Why is it closed? The guards grunted but said nothing further. Another carriage came rattling down the road, and the guards made a get-out-of-the-way sign to him as the carriage came to a stop at the gate. Dante did so with a frown, as a man looked out the window as the driver announced, "The mayor has returned. Open the gates."
Hold on a moment. No need to rush through. Do get the gates open for us, though,
the man sticking his head out the window said. The nearest guard could step over to them so that he could see the mayor's face, and waving at them, there was a nod between the guards as they turned to open the gates. This mayor then turned his attention towards Dante.
"Who are you, and why are you trying to enter Old Briarwood?"
"And my name is Dante, sir, and I'm here to see what's going on and listen to the people."
"Oh, you think they have complaints about things?"
"Who doesn't, Mr. Mayor? I'm here to listen and see what those complaints are. But your guards of your city don't seem to want that."
"Oh, I have no problem with it at all. But I also must protect my people against the rabble that live in this country. They want to destroy things, and my little slice of paradise is a perfect thing to destroy."
"By keeping your citizens away from others, though, all you do is radicalize them only to your way of thinking. Well, that can't be healthy." The mayor's eyes narrowed, looking over Dante with disdain, and then back to the horse, and then back to the horseman who had been following Dante.
"I don't like the way you're saying things."
"You mean it makes me sound like I work for a government?"
"Yes, indeed, but I suppose you have a point. So as long as you're good and don't cause trouble—"
Dante nodded yes to that.
"Then we can let you in. By the way, who is that one?"
The mayor pointed back towards the one that had been following him. "A soldier for Count Marcus who is keeping tabs on me."
"Well, I guess he should come in then as well. More eyes on you, the better all around. Get moving, driver."
The carriage jerked forward, and the guards let them all through. They moved into the town, but not very far, only going to the town green, which was nearby, where the carriage came to a stop. Not wanting to cause any problems, Dante stopped there as well, and moved to dismount his horse, as a few people gathered around. The mayor got out from the carriage and waved to the people that were gathering.
"Good people, we will have our weekly meeting in the tavern as usual. Nothing to see here right now,"
the mayor announced.
"Who is that, though?"
a citizen called out.
"A man who's come to listen and find out about us. We have a duty to let people hear what we're proposing and why. That is all, Mr. Bosco."
"I don't like it. It smells like government is going to come down upon us for thinking differently. That's what's going to happen, you know. It won't be pretty if they do." "Fear what you do not know, and listen to those that speak their truths. If you cannot listen to others, then you are lost to your own fears. But a light comes from those willing to hear and consider all those options put before them." This man who'd been speaking up to the mayor gave Dante a sharp look for his words. He did not appear to like them at all, or was aware of their origin.
"Ye old kings of the priesthood, a wise statement from them,"
the mayor interrupted with a grin. "They said a lot of crap, though, but sometimes good things, as is the case when many people like to talk."
"And we should learn from both. Listen and don't judge until you have the facts."
"Yes. Will that be okay with you, Mr. Bosco, sir? You who have a problem with someone wanting to hear what your people want? Changes cannot be made if only you know about them. Plus, anyone will resist your attempts, since you cannot explain what you're doing." The man, though, continued to glower at Dante. I want it on record, I don't like this mayor. Eventually, though, this worker took away the carriage horses and Dante's horse, leading them away. The inn and tavern are over there, Mr. Dante. I suggest you go over there and settle in for the day. It will be a couple of hours before everyone gathers, but I'm sure you've had a long ride here. Yes, thank you. Dante went over to the inn and then had some lunch, and then waited and watched as few people came in. Most of them took one look at him, sitting in the corner, and went about their business. They were always keeping an eye out, though, in case he did something. Dante made sure that all he did was sit there and people watch, as so not to make himself threatening to them. But this appeared like it might be too much for the crowd. Eventually, they started to ignore him as the evening came, and the place was soon filled up with townspeople, all hustling to get a good seat. The place had become a bit rowdy as all the drinks flowing and people chatting and some food going around. None of them came near him, though, and the mayor soon came into the place, with the people cheering at the sight of him. Yes, good people, I have returned with news from the outside world. It is as we suspect. Not many good things going on there, and lots of crime. We should declare ourselves a free city then, Mayor, a citizen called out. An idea that we shall consider when the time is right, Miss Juniper. There is no need to rush things. But we want to make our dreams come true. That's what this is all about, getting you to see what we've all been working hard to achieve. Yes, my lovely townspeople. I said that there is a chance that I might not be able to see my dreams come true. These things take time, and we don't want to rush to get to victory where it can all fall apart because we didn't stabilize ourselves. The mayor, who was still by the front door, began moving further into the room towards the center of it. He looked around and finally saw Dante, met his eyes, and he merely gave a nod in response to that sight. The mayor then continued his walk to the center of the room. We want change now. I will not rush this, Mika. Not when there is a government official here listening to us. I'm only here to listen, so talk about whatever you want, Dante said. We want our freedoms. He cocked an eyebrow at that demand. Dante knew he shouldn't get involved per se, but asking questions to get further information wasn't exactly bad, or was it? The king had his rules changed constantly, making it hard to keep up with things. Okay, miss, what freedom has been taken or rescinded from you? Dante asked her. The king has cut us off from the rest of the continent. Is that because your city doesn't pay taxes? Why would he give you access to his kingdom when you don't pay money to keep him happy? We have no right to trade or do business with any other town. Again, you pay no fees nor fares to the goods you want to trade. I'm sure your mayor has sent parties to talk to the king about trade agreements, but without those, why would he offer to trade with you? What is your town's goods and specialties? A silence had fallen over the crowd as they tried to figure out how to answer any of that. The mayor nodded along and patted a nearby person's shoulder gently. As this government official says, we have to make agreements before we can be considered equals. We have to show our worth. But this representative government never shows us the favor that we cry for, but we will work for it nonetheless. This doesn't make sense to me. Why should we listen to the Mr. Government Man? You don't have to listen to me, Mr. Bosco, though your mayor seems interested in it to get what he wants. We all bend a little to get what we want in the end, which I think we're all aware of, whether it be something like trading cattle for grains, or something major like establishing a relationship with the kingdom. And anyway, we are not here to listen to me, but to the people as you strive to move forward, Dante replied. Exactly. We will move forward towards our goals, slowly and surely, and I'm sure you, sir, Mr. Dante, will reach out to the king and tell him about us."
Mayor Stabler replied.
"Oh, I will. I still don't understand why anyone wants to go alone, especially a small town like this. Maybe I'm missing some greater story I'm willing to hear out and use to better inform the situation so that the king does know what's going on here." They all looked at him doubtfully, but accepted this, and went back to complaining just to the mayor. The conversation carried on late into the night, with no one really making any headway or explanation as to why they deserved any of this, and Dante found himself eventually yawning. This had been a complete waste of time, and made him wonder why the king cared so much about such a little fishing village. The late hour also made it so that he wouldn't be able to get back to the other town tonight. As the crowd was breaking up, he stood up, heading over towards the innkeeper, who'd been quiet for the entirety of this
town meeting.
"Excuse me, you wouldn't happen to have a place that I could stay at for the night, would you?" "Why do you want to stay here?"
the innkeeper grumbled.
"Well, it's dark out, and I'd rather travel during the day, as it is safer. Will there be a problem with me staying?" "I don't accept the king's money here." "You don't accept gold or silver pieces. They can be melted down and recast into whatever molds you have." "Part of the mayor's decree. No foreign currency." He looked over towards the mayor, who was approaching with a soft grin and an understanding look. When the man came to a stop next to Dante, he raised an eyebrow at the mayor, questioning his choices. "You run a bartering system in your fair town, mayor?" No, we accept all sorts of money." "The king's money, though?"
Dante asked the mayor.
"Well, it tends to rile the people up when they find out about it. There are a lot of high emotions when it comes to the glorious king that you call your ruler." "Really? It could have fooled me. I didn't hear anything that would really constitute anger and emotion about a faith on money. Maybe I wasn't listening well enough, though." "I think that would be the case. You failed to listen to the people,"
the mayor said, almost gloating.
"I see. Well, I suppose then I shall ride out here tonight, since my money is no good at this inn." "Mr. Bordeaux, if you would be so kind as to allow the government agent, Dante, and the person keeping an eye on him, 2 rooms for the night. I know you could use the money he has."
The innkeeper nodded along to the mayor's orders.
Early in the morning, Dante had set off. Getting out of that weird little place was good for his mind, though it left him with a hell of a lot of questions, like why the king cared so much about the little hamlet of a fishing village that just provided fishing and little else. There were farmers, but no other great export of need by the king, so why was the king interested? His thoughts, though, were soon interrupted about halfway to the next town by a group of soldiers, mostly for hire, who were riding towards him. At the head of this group was Marcus. Heaving a sigh of annoyance, Dante brought his horse to a stop and let them approach as he dismounted. "So, you're returning along my road?"
Marcus demanded now.
"I said I would, yes, and it's the only road to get back to where I need to go, and I still intend to fulfill the princess's request to get you to that island." "I have 7 men, and there is only 1 of you. Do you really think you can make me do anything?" "Yeah,"
Dante replied with a chuckle to Marcus's words.
"Well, I would like to see that." Dante had to shake his head in sadness. It seemed this minor nobility count really didn't understand things. Then again, most of the nobility thought they could get away with things until it was far too late. "You really don't want that, Count Marcus?" "Oh, and why not?" "Because I can pay your people more, poison you before you move, and kill most, if not all, of the people you've hired. I'm a spy, Mr. Marcus, and when put to task, I complete it, even if I hate doing it." You think that's enough to stop the lot of us? All of us are still on our horses and can cut you down before you move."
With a cocked eyebrow, Dante was reaching for the purse on his side. One of the horsemen bolted forward, pulling their sword out as they charged towards him. Dropping to one knee, Dante flicked a hidden blade out that had been hidden under his shirt sleeve, and towards the figure. It clanged harmlessly off the chainmail, but caught the man by surprise, but only for a second, before he redoubled his efforts. By this time, though, Dante had closed that distance, a small needle in his hand that he'd withdrawn from a purse, and clues and stabbed at the man's leg, which, while covered with chainmail, armor like that is great, but it does have a lot of holes in it, and with something as small as a needle, even if it hits the mail, it usually will just slip right through and into the skin. All the while he was ducking away from the sword that was now singing through the air. The rider went forward a few more paces as Dante walked away unharmed, as this rider then slowly slid off of their saddle. "Now, that leaves the rest of you. I offer 50 gold reward for anyone willing to ride away now. Meet me down the road in a bit, and we can further discuss things. Marcus, you get to stay here, or you can come with me and make this easy." "You're planning on killing me? When we first met you said you were taking me alive to that place." "Things change, as do all things. It's for all of us, and I say whatever I want to the princess. There's no way to prove to her that I didn't try to keep you alive, so—" Dante said, his words trailing away.
"The rest of you soldiers should attack him at once. I will not be at the beck and call of that princess."
"As I said, 50 gold pieces if you ride away, and let me just deal with Marcus."
"I will increase my offer of pay to you to 100 gold to the one that strikes him down. He is an abomination to royalty, and thinks he can get away with things."
"For those interested, I can offer a letter of suggestion to the king's guards, where they will act on it as a job offer." Marcus scowled as two of the remaining horsemen began backing their horses and animals away, their clop, clop, clop along the dirt, drawing his attention.
"I will do this myself then, since the rest of you are useless."
Drawing his sword, Marcus approached, but kept his distance, wary of Dante, the tip of the blade constantly pointing towards him, as Dante went towards picking up his dagger. At no time did he feel like the man had the potential to threaten him even up on the horse. The remaining riders that had just stayed were now all pulling back, and were moving away, satisfied that whatever the end was, they were going to get paid. "Are you afraid to attack, Count Marcus?"
"I'm just looking for your weak point. I know you did something to that one over there, but I don't know what. Perhaps you killed him, for which you'll have to pay for."
"You can always go and check. I'll wait right here while you do so," Dante offered.
No, you won't."
Still on his horse, sword pointed towards Dante, Marcus circled around him, keeping him from doing much of anything. And while doing so, Dante stiffened at the air, keeping a watchful eye on the man. "Do you smell that in the air?"
"No."
Marcus crinkled his nose as he tried not to sniff the air and having his horse take a few more steps away from Dante. They kept circling about one another, but the pace had slowed as they were now looking around for a smell. "Are you sure?" Dante asked. "It's the sort of thing you want to be aware of. It can be deadly if sniffed wrong."
What are you even on about?"
Marcus complained as he looked about unsure of himself. Dante pulled out an empty bottle from one of his pockets and displayed it for the man to see. It was stared at for a moment, and Marcus did sniff at the air, but shrugged a moment later. "This is a sleeping agent that can kill at the worst of times. You get too much of it, and poof, you kill over dead. That's what happened to your first attacker. Now you risk falling victim to it as well. Are you ready?" Dante prodded.
"Well, I don't smell anything at all."
Not good for you, as that means that stuff is already working its magic. A look about the place gave Marcus no comfort, and he pulled his horse a little bit further away from Dante. He was also blinking a lot more as he did so, seemingly having a far-off look that he wasn't able to concentrate on what he wanted. His foot slipped from the stirrup. What? As the man slipped from the saddle, Dante stepped up, quickly catching him before he fell onto the ground, lowering him gently down so that he didn't have to hold him up as the swords for hire reapproached. In a quick move, he untied the 2 purse bags from Marcus, one on the horse and one on the man's sideways. With both secured, he tossed them to the ground in front of the mercenaries who came to a stop. That money is yours regardless of what you do or now, and what I owe you money. But in order to pay you, I need to get to the city of Holmes, to the nearby city. If you don't mind. I can't be seen dragging this one around, but you lot might be able to get away with it. I need him at the port to be put on a ship.
Dante requested.
We get paid well for this? One of the approaching mercenary guards asked. If you do as I ask, yes, there will be good money at the end of it. As a sign of good faith, I will give you this coin I have. He pulled out a similar coin to the one he'd handed to the sailor and offered it to the swords for hire. He took a few steps over to the side, near where a rock was, by the side of the road. He placed the coin on top of that. Once it was balanced on that, he took a few steps back towards his own horse. That will get you 50 gold at the bank in the city and town. By the way, you'll need to take your other companion with you, or don't. I mean, he's only asleep, but that will wear off in an hour, a couple of hours or so, maybe a day or two, depends on how much he got into him. As for Marcus, he will probably stay unconscious for a while, because I'm going to go wave this under his nose, Dante said as he held up the bottle. When there was no reaction from the group, he shrugged, did as he said he was going to, and returned to his own horse. It was time to get moving, and there were issues that he needed to be dealt with, and a report to write. The sooner he got somewhere safe, the better off he would be. How do we trust you when you're only giving us that one coin? It pays out 50 gold pieces, soldier, but if you show up at the bank with our friend in tow after I've gotten there, then it does pay out more. Your choice, though. I won't force you to do anything. Getting up onto his horse, although feeling a little woozy from having emptied a slightly sleeping agent poison bottle, he began riding away, trying his best to hold on. He wasn't immune to the effects. He had spent a lot of time getting used to it. Having ridden hard to get back to the town where he'd landed 2 days ago, Dante had found an inn not far from a banking area of town and settled in for that night. A good night's sleep was most welcomed, though he woke up later than he wanted to, as the morning was now slipping towards the early afternoon. He grumbled to himself, picking over the last of his breakfast, as a mean-looking man approached him. Can I help you? I'm one of many deputies around town keeping the peace. A dirty, no-good paying job. Do you want me to come see the sheriff? Dante asked. If you don't mind. I've no qualms with that. If there is one thing, if I can stop at several banks first, if that's okay. I need to talk to them about a coin that will be coming across that has the king's mark on it. Special thing that's worth a bit more when I give the okay to the bank. And why would we go do that? The deputy asked. Just to settle some affairs that I have going on. I'm not looking to bribe anyone, and it's just talking to people, so it shouldn't take too long. That is not an explanation as to why. I want to make sure that I have my debts paid should certain people come calling to the banks. Doing so would make me feel more secure in dealing with the sheriff. I can't leave debts unpaid. I'll give you this, sir. We will go to one bank, and I shall see exactly what you're doing. If it isn't bad, then we might visit more banks. Dante rose from his seat, nodding yes. I can agree to those terms.
Shall we get to those things and get them settled? The deputy, who had never introduced himself, merely stepped to the side and signaled that Dante should go first. He took note of that and prepared himself for anything that might come, since this figure did not come across as trustworthy to him. In fact, the deputy had been more than kind, as they went to several banks. Once they'd been to the first one, of course, and then gone through the entire process. Matters were quickly cleared up, and he was escorted to the sheriff's office, near the center of town. It was a nice place, well taken care of, with little dust about it, though it was also crowded with papers, prisoners, and anything else that needed a place, but they couldn't find one for it, so it was merely shoved into a spot. He had been brought to the personnel's office of Sheriff Roderick off to the corner, a small place that wasn't as crowded, but still suffered from paperwork and other items that needed places.
"So nice of you to join me, Mr. Dante," the sheriff said as Dante entered the office.
Apologies for my lateness, Sheriff Roderick, in attending to your summons. I wanted to clear up some banking matters work first. Your deputy saw no harm in it.
I'm sure he didn't, but you're here now and we need to talk.
If this is about my departure from this lovely little place a few days ago, I know it wasn't under the best of circumstances, but I didn't want to drag that man, a former friend of mine, into a mess. The sheriff, though, was shaking his head no.
Nope. Well, that did come up with some discussion from locals, but I'm actually looking past that for now.
Dante, who tried to put on a bright, uncaring expression on his face. It generally wasn't good when people called to meet you for something else entirely. It likely meant that something had happened at the kingdom level, and he was about to hear about it. What seems to be the problem, Sheriff? There has been a coup. The sinking feeling in Dante's stomach dropped lower and lower, somewhere towards his feet. If he could feel sick, then he would. But right now, it wasn't exactly the right time to do that. I see, and you're telling me because...
We received a message, Mr. Dante,
the other day, before you arrived from the island. It said that there were going to be some changes in the government, as Princess Ella takes charge. The note was held out by the sheriff for Dante to read, and he readily took it. Apparently, somewhere along in the first few words, it was noted that he would probably be in the area, and that he should be found. These sorts of letters were also better off read, and it allowed him to see if it was fake or not. In this case, Princess Ella's handwriting was unmistakable for anyone else's. And this asked you to find me and jail me, or just... It surprisingly did not ask us to jail you, but did warn that you'd be coming to be a thorn in my side if I stopped you. So you're free to leave this area, but please do so quickly. Thank you. Might I make a copy of this letter? I know a few people who would probably be interested to know about it. If you wish, I have no worries about that.
The sheriff acquiesced.
In a hurry, Dante accomplished just that. End of part 6 of A Spy's Dagger.
Thank you for listening.